Welcome to Function Focus, Lesson 13 with Ms. Barrett. In Lesson 12, we discussed how to use synthetic division to determine if a polynomial is a factor of another polynomial. Okay. In this lesson, we're specifically trying to find the factors of a polynomial. Okay. So this is a little different from last lesson. So hopefully by the end of this is our objective. Hopefully by the end of this lesson, you'll be able to use synthetic division to divide polynomials. And I want to add to find factors. Okay. The whole goal here is to find the factors of the polynomial, all the factors. So for your homework or your practice, okay, I have a worksheet for you. I'm going to show it to you, and I advise that you try to do it, get some of it done, so that you can bring it to the Zoom class time and you can ask any questions. We're going to go over it, but I want you to have questions, okay, if you have any. Now, here it says blank blank is a process that we do when we divide a polynomial by a linear function. Okay, so here we have synthetic division. That's the answer. That's the blank. That's what we're using, okay, to find the factors of polynomials. Okay. So we're going to remember the process, but I want to remember the process by doing the process. So here we have a problem, an example. Okay. Here we have an example with a quadratic function. So it says divide 2x squared plus x minus 15 by x plus 3. So let's do it. We're going to do it using synthetic division. Let's remember our steps. Okay, let's remember our steps. So first of all, what do we know? Okay, what do we know? We know that x plus 3 here, we know that x plus 3 is a factor. It is a factor. The question here is, what are the other factor? What is the other factor? Okay, so you don't have to guess. If I'm asking you what the other factor is, you don't have to guess if this is a factor, okay? This is a factor. It will yield a remainder of 0. But the real question is, what is the other factor? Okay, so first step, number 1, okay? You're going to make x plus 3 equals 0. This is the 0. We want to know what is the 0. So we subtract 3 on both sides. X equals negative 3. This is our 0. Okay. Step 2, draw your L. Okay. The 0 goes on the outside. So negative 3 goes on the outside. At the top, on the inside of the L, you're going to put your coefficients of your original polynomial. 2, 1, and negative 15. So 2, 1, and negative 15. Okay. Step 3, we're going to do our division. First things first, bring down that first coefficient. Now we're going to do our multiplication. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. Add addition, 1 minus 6 is negative 5. Negative 3 times negative 15 is going to be positive 15. Negative 15 plus 15 is 0. That's our remainder. Again, we already knew this is a factor. That's what we know. Because they're asking what are the other factors, we're just assuming, we have a right to assume that this is already, x plus 3 is already a factor. So this proves that because it yielded a remainder of 0. So step 4, we're going to write out our answer using these new coefficients These are our new coefficients, and we have to write it as a degree lower than the original. So this had a degree of 2. Our new answer has to have a degree of 1. So it's 2x minus 5. So the answer to what is the other factor is 2x minus 5. That's the answer. Okay, this is the answer. Okay. Now, how can I prove that to you? I can prove that to you. Because if I know x plus 3 is a factor, and I found that 2x minus 5 is a factor, I can prove that by doing my FOILs. First is x times 2x, which is 2x squared. Outer is x times negative 5, which is negative 5x. Inner is 3 times 2x, which is 6x. And last is 3 times negative 5, which is negative 15. If I combine my like terms, I get 2x squared plus x minus 15. Okay, which is what I originally had in the beginning. 2x squared plus x minus 15. So yes, this is right. 2x minus 5 is the other factor. Okay, let's remember what we did here. First thing we did, the number on the outside of the box is the 0. That was here. This number on the outside of the box is negative 3 is the 0. The numbers across the top are the coefficients. Write this down, are the coefficients of the polynomial. Here we go. 2x, 2, 1, and negative 15. That's what we put at the top. That's what we put at the top here. Okay. The number across the bottom here, what we got for our answer are the coefficients of the quotient or of the answer. We just say of the answer. Number 4, to write the answer, take the numbers at the bottom, these numbers here, and write them with x's starting with one less than the degree or the highest exponent of the polynomial. So our original polynomial was 2. We have to write this answer, as I did in step 4, with starting with the degree of 1. Step 5, the last number is in the bottom is the remainder. Write the number over the linear function. Well, here our remainder was 0. We don't have to do that. And then lastly, the last number is also the value of the polynomial function evaluated at 0. Okay, it's basically saying it's a factor. Okay. Okay. All right, let's do it again. Except for now, we're going to do it with a polynomial that has a highest degree of 3. So we have x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 9 divided by x minus 2. Okay. So what we know x minus 2 is a factor. Okay. We know x minus 2 is a factor. Okay. So the question is, what is another factor? Well, we don't always know x minus 2 is a factor. Okay, we're assuming x minus 2 is a factor. So we're going to say we're assuming x minus 2 is a factor, but we know x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 9 divided by x minus 2. And we're going to figure out what that equals. Okay. We're going to figure out what that equals. All right, so let's do it. Step 1, x minus 2 equals 0. Therefore, if we add 2 on both sides, x equals 2. I'm going to do the other steps on the side. Step 2 and step 3. We're going to use our synthetic division. We're going to use our synthetic division to put that 2 on the outside. Okay, put our coefficients 1, 2, -6, and -9 at the top. 1, 2, -6, and -9 go at the top. Here we're just dividing this polynomial to the third degree by x minus 2. It's not asking us what is the other factor. We just want to know what is the answer when you do the synthetic division. Okay. So now we're going to bring down that first coefficient, and then we're going to do our multiplication. 2 times 1 is 2. Put that 2 here. 2 plus 2 is 4. Do it again. 2 times 4 is 8. -6 plus 8 is 2. 2 times 2 is 4. -9 plus 4 is -5. This is our remainder. Now remember, now step 4 says write your answer as 1 less degree from the original. Our original here is to the degree 3. So our answer must be in the degree 2. X squared, so it's 1x squared, right? We're taking our new coefficients, plus 4x. So it's x squared, now it's x, plus 2. Now we have a remainder of -5. So we have to write that as -5 divided by, because we have -5x minus 2's left. So you always have to write your remainder, if you have one, as -5 over the original linear function, whatever we were dividing by. And that is our answer. So if I say divide, for example, x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 9 by x minus 2, I want you to give me the answer. So what we know now is that x cubed plus 2x squared minus 6x minus 9 divided by x minus 2 is x squared plus 4x plus 2 minus 5 divided by x minus 2. That's the answer. Okay? All right. Now another example. If I say f of x equals 5x to the 4th power minus 21x squared plus 14 divided by x plus 1. Okay? So I'm basically asking you, what is the answer when I divide this polynomial by this linear function? Same steps. Step 1, take your linear function, make it equal to 0, solve for x. In this case, x equals -1. Step 2 and 3, take your coefficients. Here it's 5. Now, if you notice here, this is tricky. 5x to the 4th. And then I jump to -21x squared. I'm missing a third term. I'm missing the x cubed term. Okay, so this is missing the x cubed term. So I have to replace that, since it's missing, with a 0. So I'm going to draw my L's, and I'm going to put my 0 on the outside, -1. Now, when I write these coefficients out, I have to replace that x cubed term with 0 because it's missing. So the coefficient 5 is for my x to the 4th power. Now I have to put 0 because I'm missing my x cubed term. Remember, we're counting down. This is from the highest degree to the lowest degree. So it should be 4, 3, 2, and then 1. Okay, so I'm missing my 3rd term, so I put a 0. Now I can put the -21. I'm also missing my x term. So 4, 3, 2, and then 1. I'm missing that x term also. So I have to put a 0 there. And then I could put my 14. Okay, so it's missing the x cubed term and x term. So it's missing an x cubed term and an x term. So I had to replace them. So this is 5x to the 4th, it's 0x to the 3rd, -21x squared, 0x, and then 14. That can be a little tricky. You have to make sure you're looking to see if you're missing any terms. So now I'm going to do my synthetic division. Bring down my first coefficient. I have -1 times 5 equals 5. 0 plus 5 is 5. -1 times 5 is 5. Is -5, I'm sorry. Oh, this should be -5. So 0 minus 5 is -5. Sorry about that. Again, it was -1 times 5 equals -5. Then 0 minus 5 equals -5. -1 times +5 is 5. +5. -21 plus 5 is going to be 6. -16. And then -1 times -16 is +16. 0 plus 16 is 16. And then -1 times 16 is -16. 14 minus 16 is -2. Again, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. -1 times a number, put it here. Do your addition. -1 times the next number, put it here. Do your addition. -1 times the next number for as many numbers as you have. Okay. Now my answer has to be written as a coefficient. A degree lower. So I have 5, -5, -16, 16, and -2. These are my coefficients, except for this -2. The last number is always your remainder. So if the original was a degree of 4, then my answer has to be in a degree of 3. So it's going to be 5x cubed minus 5x squared minus 16x plus 16 with a remainder of -2 over x plus 1. This is my answer. Okay. So the same process goes for any polynomial. The synthetic division doesn't change. It could be a polynomial to the degree of 105. It would make it very long, but it would be the same level of synthetic division. Now I want you to pause your video and try these. Do these on your own. Okay. So hopefully you were able to do them on your own. I'm just going to do them quickly here just so you can see if you got the correct answers. Step 1, make your linear function or whatever you're dividing by equal to 0. Solve for x. Step 2 and 3, put that 0 on the outside of your L. Put the coefficients on the top, making sure that if anyone is missing, you're replacing it. So you have 1, -3, -7, and 6. Nothing to replace for this one. Okay. Bring down your first coefficient. Start your multiplication. So it's 4 times 1 is 4. -3 plus 4 is 1. 4 times 1 is 4. -7 plus 4 is -3. -4 times -3 is -12. 6 minus 12 is -6. That's my remainder. Remember, your remainder is always the last number. Now I'm going to write my answer with these new coefficients as a degree lower than the original. So x cubed, so then my answer has to be x squared plus x minus 3 with a remainder of -6, x plus x minus 4s. Okay. And for this one, I have x cubed plus 9x squared minus 80 divided by x plus 4. Do my step 1. X plus 4 equals 0. Subtract 4 on both sides. X equals -4. Steps 2 and 3 are to draw my L. Put my -4 on the outside, which is my 0. Take the coefficients, making sure that if I'm missing any, and I am missing one, I have x cubed, I have an x squared, I do not have an x, so I have to replace that x with a 0 term. So it's going to be 1, coefficient of x cubed is 1, coefficient of x squared is 9. Ooh, well, I didn't have to write the positive, but I did anyway. 9. Now I have to replace that x term with, I have to replace that an x squared term with 0, and then it's -80. Okay. So now I'm going to start my synthetic division. -4. Bring down the first coefficient. -4 times 1 equals -4. 9 minus 4 is 5. -4 times 5 is -20. 0 minus 20 is -20. And then -4 times -20 is +80. And -80 plus 80 is 0. So here I have a remainder of 0. I still have to write this answer with these new coefficients as a degree lower than the original. This is a degree of 3. Therefore, the answer is going to start with x squared. So it's 1x squared plus 5x minus 20. And I don't have a remainder, so I don't have to write anything here. I don't have to write 0. And this would be my answer. Okay. There are some special cases where I will ask you, what are the other factors again? And it won't be with a quadratic equation or formula, polynomial. It could be with a polynomial degree 4, 5, 6. It could be any of those degrees. So if I ask you, the function f of x equals x cubed plus 6x squared plus 3x minus 10 has factors of x plus 2 and x minus 1. So I'm telling you, these two are the factors. X plus 2 is a factor and x minus 1 is a factor. What is the third factor? Tell me, what is the last factor? This strategy, the strategy to solve this, to find the last factor, is to do synthetic division twice. Okay? With each of the known factors. So I'm going to do synthetic division with x plus 2, and I'm going to do synthetic division with x minus 1. Okay? I'm going to do them both. So first, I'm going to do it with x plus 2. So let's do x plus 2 first. So if I x plus 2, I'm going to make it equal to 0. I'm going to solve for x. X equals -2. Okay, I'm going to do my L. Put that -2 on the outside here. On the top, I'm going to have my coefficients. Make sure I'm not missing any. So it's going to be 1, 6, 3, and -10. Bring down that first one and do my multiplication. -2 times 1 is -2. 6 minus 2 is 4. -2 times 4 is -8. Okay, 3 minus 8 is -5. -2 times -5 is +10. -10 plus 10 is 0. That's my remainder. So we expected this to be the remainder for this because it tells us that x plus 2 is a factor. So because it is a factor, we know that the remainder has to be 0. So now my answer for this one was, and I'm going to write my answer as a degree less. So if the original was the degree of 3, this has to be a degree of 2. So 1x squared plus 4x minus 5. Okay. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to factor it using x minus 1. Okay. So again, I'm taking this x squared plus 4x minus 5, and I'm going to factor it using x minus 1. So basically I'm going to say divide x squared plus 4x minus 5 by x minus 1. Okay, that's what I'm asking you to do. So I did the original by the first factor, and I got an answer. Now I'm going to take that answer and I'm going to divide it by the second factor. So now I have x minus 1, make it equal to 0, solve for x. Okay, solve for x. Now I'm going to take that 0 and put it on the outside, put that 1 on the outside, take my coefficients. I have new coefficients now. It's 1, 4, and -5. So now bring down my first coefficient. 1 times 1 is 1. 4 plus 1 is 5. 1 times 5 is 5. -5 plus 5 is 0. I have a remainder of 0. I have to now write this new answer as a degree lower than the original, which is 2 here. So then that's going to be 1x plus 5. And this will be my answer. Okay. So what I'm saying here is that my first factor was x plus 2. My second factor was x minus 1. My third factor is x plus 5. Okay. My third factor is x plus 5. So this is the answer. So again, what I did here was I took the original and I divided it by the first factor using synthetic division. Then I took the answer from the first factor and I divided it by the second factor using synthetic division, which gave me the third factor. Okay. All right. I want you to pause the video and try the U-try. I want you to pause the video and try the U-try, doing the synthetic division twice, and then come back for the answer. All right. The function f of x equals x to the third power minus 2x squared minus 9x plus 18. The factors are x plus minus 3 and x plus 3. what is the third factor? So we know for a fact that if I was to use synthetic division, x minus 3 would give me a remainder of 0, and x plus 3 would give me a remainder of 0. So now I'm going to use synthetic division twice to find the third factor. Okay, so I'm going to take this first factor, x minus 3, make it equal to 0, and solve for x. So basically x is going to be positive 3. I'm going to take that positive 3, put it on the outside, take my coefficients of my original, 1, negative 2, negative 9, and 18. 1, negative 2, negative 9, and 18. Put it at the top. Bring down that first coefficient. 3 times 1 is 3. Negative 2 plus 3 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. Negative 9 plus 3 is 6. Negative 6. Positive 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. 18 minus 18 is 0. So now I have to write this new answer a degree less than the original. So that's 3. The degree was 3. I have to write this answer as a degree of 2. X squared plus x minus 6. I don't have a remainder. So now this is my new answer. I must now use synthetic division to divide this by the second factor. So divide x squared plus x minus 6 by x plus 3. Okay, let's do that. So if I have x plus 3 equals 0, therefore x equals negative 3. Okay, so I'm going to put that negative 3 on the outside, take my coefficients, 1, 1, and negative 6. Bring down my first one, so negative 3 times 1 equals negative 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2. Negative 3 times negative 2 is 6. Positive 6. Negative 6 plus 6 is 0. That's my remainder. I have to now write this answer 1 less degree than the original or what we were doing. So this has a degree of 2. This one must have a degree of 1. So it's x minus 2. And that's the answer. All I did was I did synthetic division twice. Okay. So I know now that x minus 3 is a factor, x plus 2 is a factor. X plus 3 is a factor, and x minus 2 is a factor. I'm not going to go over the word problems today because a word problem is not part of your practice, and it won't be a part of your quiz. Now, for practice, it's only 4 problems. And this practice looks a lot like how your quiz will look. So it has 4 problems. The first problem tells you that the factors of this polynomial are x plus 3, x minus 3. Find the third factor, just like what we just did. You have to use synthetic division twice. The second and third asks you to just divide it and give me an answer. And then it asks you, is this polynomial a factor of the other? And then number 4 just asks you to, divide one polynomial by another. I do advise that you do this before our meeting on Thursday. That way you can ask any questions if you have any. Okay. Have a good day. Bye.